Today, I'm interviewing Holly Rosano, who is a senior principal and project manager at Data Colb Engineers. I met Holly during a brief summer internship. Data Colb is a 200 plus person instructional engineering firm with 8 offices on the West Coast. Hi, Holly. Thanks for your time today. I wanted to ask you about your annual employee appraisal process at Data Colb and specifically how you measure employee performance, what performance criteria you use, and how that criteria is measured. Could you give us a brief overview of your evaluation process to kick this off?
Sure. Hey, Tom. So we do performance evaluations on an annual basis. We also give just-in-time feedback throughout the year as well. And we have several tools. I'll tell you about a couple of them. One of them is a 360 annual evaluation. And then another is establishing annual individual goals specifically for our managers in the company. And these goals are really important because they're used to evaluate distribution of profits at the end of the year.
Could you share with us what your 360 review process looks like, and then what criteria you're using to evaluate your project managers?
Sure. So the 360 process is an online platform where the data is collected, and we solicit input from anyone working with the individual being evaluated. So that could mean people below you, your peers, or people above you, like your supervisor or your boss. And we look at 4 key competencies to evaluate: people development, communication, interpersonal skills, and job knowledge.
So would each of these competencies be rated on a scale?
They're rated on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being unacceptable, 3 being standard, you're meeting the criteria, and 5 being exceptional performance. And then we also collect written responses through the input process, and that's also really valuable.
And then are these 4 categories weighted evenly?
Yes, for the 360-degree input evaluation portion of our data, they are weighted evenly and they're averaged out, so a person gets an overall average score.
And then could you share some examples of objective criteria that you guys rate?
Sure. So within the 360 process, I would say that the people development category is one where we evaluate how our PMs, our project managers, counsel and coach employees through projects to meet financial metrics for the project. So each project has a target budget and number of hours to be spent, and so we collect the data to evaluate how effectively a project manager is running a project and coaching someone to meet that objective. So that's one of the ways that we measure something objectively with data.
What would you say some subjective criteria are, and like where do those come into play in your evaluation?
Yeah, good question. So the subjective evaluation process is a little bit more difficult to measure. I would say a good example of that is interpersonal skills of the person. We're looking for someone, to have friendly interactions, express their emotions appropriately, face and resolve conflict, treat people professionally, those types of things. And so you can imagine each person comes to the evaluation with their own bias and their own opinion that can affect the rating.
Yeah, I can see why rating interpersonal skills is super subjective. Like depending on your relationship with the employee. Um, in addition to objective and subjective criteria, are there other activities or behaviors that you evaluate?
Yes, we definitely do. So especially at the manager level, there's a lot of activities that we do besides just working on our projects with building buildings. And these activities can have a real impact around collaboration and teamwork, business development, and leadership. So I thought I'd share an example of something from my personal experience. So in my role in the company, I work across all of our different offices and geographic regions to support other project managers within my area. And so as an example, I may have a project where I'm working with a particular architectural firm But my colleagues say in the Seattle office doesn't have a relationship with that firm, but wants one because that client, that firm is important in the market where they're locally working. So what I do is work to make introductions, to promote the local project manager, and promote the firm as a whole. So
And
that's
then
one good example.
now I had one final question. When it comes to contextual performance and these skills that are evaluated, are you weighing all of these evenly?
So on the contextual performance criteria, we are not weighing those elements evenly, and I'll tell you why. Generally, those individual goals that are set with people are weighted more heavily, really to reflect that it takes a lot of personal growth and extended effort to achieve those goals. And generally, those goals also not only benefit the individual person, but they also benefit the company as a whole. So we weight them more heavily. And they're also good differentiators between employees.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing today. You provided us with great examples of objective and subjective criteria and the importance of how these are weighted.
Awesome, great. I hope this can be of help to your class. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.